Hello. Can you hear me? Oops. Like this. All right, one more minute. Hi, MTGV TV. Thank you so much for coming over. I appreciate it. I can't wait to you to start classes. Can you hear me? Can you put a one in the chat if you can hear me? So it's 12 o'clock. So I'm going to start this. My name is Cami. Others know me as Nurse Arlene. Thank you for coming over to Cami's spot today. Today, my channel is really basically my journey on intentional living and creating intentional changes. As you guys have, if you heard, what we do today is for our life in 5 years, right? So today, your body and everything is about what you live last the 5 years. Hi, TC. Thank you for coming. Um, so today we're talking about the dangers of sitting, and this is very important because especially for YouTube content creators or people who watch YouTube, gamers, and even your children who are sitting there with their gaming stations. Because the unfortunate thing is, you don't know what you're doing to your body inside. Actually, they're saying the doctors and research and everything are saying that they're looking at immobility, sitting multiple hours and everything can contribute to so many diseases. And I'll tell you about that. And I have my notes here, so I may be looking down, but so many diseases, like sitting for 23 hours a week. If you were to look at how much you're sitting on YouTube, creating content, um, editing, watching from the clouds, you know, how much time are you putting into that? And do you get up, walk around? Because sometimes you could get so into what you're watching and the drama or the whatever it is you're watching, a story or whatever, you could forget time. That's why on activity watches like Apple, they'll do a thing that say get up and stand up. And on Samsung Galaxy watches, it has the same thing. Every hour, get up, move around. So what do the statistics say? 64% uh, increase immobility or sitting for long times during the days could 64% increase risk in heart disease. 147% percent increase in stroke and heart attack just from sitting. So if you ever do a Google search, sitting is a new smoking, you will see many articles come up. And I did put a link to an article and also in the description box about it's like a little calculator that you can see how long you sit. Yes, I'm going to talk about the blood clots too, right? So it's doing a lot. And if you think about, you may say, well, I don't feel any of that. But guess what? It's happening slow. And then by the time you identify that you have a problem, injuries already happen. So I'm going to tell you about the different ways that. Thank you, Miss Sheila, Chasing Cloud. She forever, Lisa. I'm forever honored by you coming over. Thank you, and TC and MGTV. So I'm going to tell you about how does it affect our bodies. So let's start with the joints, right? Just the joint in general. We're supposed to be sitting looking straight forward, but we don't. We're looking down, like I'm looking down right now. My neck is ever so moving, it's down. Or if we have the phone, what are we doing? We're doing this. Do you know so many people have come now with neck problems, cervical issues, disc issues, all kinds of stuff because of this? They're on the phone. They're on the phone the whole day. And guess what? Guess who's following you? Your little kids. You see the two, three, not two, but 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 year olds. They're on their pad. Their little necks are just going the same way. The issue is you're not going to see the damage then, right? Yes, the eyesight. I have that down, but I wasn't even going to go into the eyesight and the blue filter that you need to be watching all of this stuff, right? So this digital age is causing a lot of silent injuries, and unfortunately, you'll be there like it, a lot of us are in different age groups, and you, my back hurting, my hip hurting, my this hurting, and you don't even know what it's from, and it's really from immobility, right? So with the joints, with the sitting, especially if we're not ergonomic, like your hands should be here so you don't get joint issues here. Some people get a cyst here called a ganglion cyst because all the fluid goes down. So your hands should be ergonomic. Carpal tunnel syndrome, it's just a whole mess. And when we get this, then we get chronic pain, and then it just snowballs, right? So let's talk about the joint, just the joints first. So you're doing this, you're online, you're watching beef sector, women, or whatever sector you're watching, and you like just all into it, or you're on your phone. You're not moving. You're not moving. You're sitting down. So you're sitting down like in an L, right? you your neck gets tense. You probably like "Ugh." But once your neck gets tense and once this thing is repeated, then here gets tight. You may say, man, my shoulders are tight. And some people you could like touch them and this is like a rock. But this is stemming from this. Your spine is one whole organism from here all the way down. So now my traps get strained, tight, rock hard. Do you know what happens with that? You start getting micro bulges in your discs because of the pressure. You don't even know it yet because the sad part is by the time you start feeling pain, the issue has already started. That's the sad part. So now you get micro discs. Now the discs are sitting on top of each other and now they start bulging. And then guess what happens? When you get down to your lower back where your hips start getting weak, right? Because there's no support. You also will start getting lumbar pain, which is the lower part of your back. Some you can get thoracic pain, that's the middle of your back, and you get some people are hunched over like that. You ever seen them older people and they're hunched over? Well, guess what? You need if uh that just me doing that alone right now. That feels so good. And then my next I'm going to do a video on chair exercises, chair stretches for people who do, because some people do work and they have to sit, but that's not even an excuse. You got to get up out your chair at least every hour. Make ways, like if you're, I don't know, if your phone is here, put the phone over there that you got to walk to it. You got to intentionally do things out of your comfort for your body, right? So also sciatica, yes, because you're sitting in this formation, your back, and you're sitting like this, and you're sitting like this for a long time, inflammation could set in. Inflammation causes a swelling, which you can see my last video on inflammation. It causes a swelling, and then it pinches the nerve. And there's a nerve, the sciatic nerve right here, and then it pinches it, and now you have sciatica. And then further down, you will start getting knee pain because now everything is off balance. And then here goes another one you may not have known: flat feet, because your feet are just on the ground. Did you know that? So the correct way, if you are going to be sitting, you have your feet propped up on something. They sell, it could be a little stool, whatever, but they some people even have that little bike that they, it's just a moving thing, and they put it under the chair, under the table, and they're just pedaling. You got to find ways to keep things happening. So let's now talk about the medical part, because that was the joint part, right? The medical part, it affects your metabolism. Your metabolism goes down. I don't think it's really just from sitting, it's just because you're not getting no mobility. So you sit online all this time. You may go to the store, you may, go walk around. That's not mobility. You need at least 30 minutes of consistent movement at least 3 to 5 days a week, right? And I'm not talking cardio, because that's a whole nother thing, right? Cardio, increasing your cardio is where, like, some people will say, well, I walk down I get my exercise every day, I walk. Walking is excellent, 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 excellent. But if you want to get the heart benefits, you're not walking looking at your neighbor and you're on the phone and you're this. You got to be walking with intention. You got to be walking with like, I got to go somewhere, that when you finish, you should be kind of a little bit out of breath, little sweat. You can't just be, hey, neighbor Johnson, what's up, Miss Sally? No, that's not what we're looking at, right? So metabolism drops. You know what happens when metabolism drops? Guess what? We gain weight. And that's the whole thing for me. As part of my weight loss journey is about these making intentional life changes for my future. Because even though I'm 51 years old, I plan to live my future. And I don't mean just live. I don't mean alive. I want to live the quality of life. Varicose veins, by sitting there, the blood pools and you can get numbness. The blood is pooling. The problem is, over time, the vessels, the veins get weak. And that's why you see the varicose veins, because the vessel it's not getting the right pump to go through it. So therefore it gets weak, right? So guess what happens? Unfortunately, you can get a thing known as DVT, deep vein thrombosis. Now, this is where you get a clot. But listen to this. That little clot is not, it's not, when they talk about clots, whether it's in the brain or whatever, it's not just a little circle and it's cool and it just travels. That clot is made up of different blood things, and it breaks off easily. So what happens is, if you get a DVT and you get a clot, and it's going through your body, it could break off and that clot could go to your heart, which could become a heart attack. It could go to your brain, which is a stroke. It could go to your kidneys, or it could go to your spine. It could go wherever, right? So you can get varicose veins, and then that could lead, varicose veins won't kill you, but if you have other risk factors like what we're talking about, it could lead to DVTs, right? This is why they say, like, when you're going on a long trip and you like a plane ride, 2 3 hour, 4 5, some people 10 12, what do they tell you to do? Get up, walk around, you know. You could also use, as we get older, I have them, compression socks. Yeah, they're socks. And they, when you are not moving, they tend to help to keep the pressure so the blood flow continues. That's what that, just in case you wonder, what does the socks do? Is holding it so that, and by holding it, is pushing the blood up and down as it's supposed to, right? Another thing, prolonged sitting does, believe it or not, it increases your risk for diabetes. Yeah, it does. It increases your risk for diabetes. What happens is it increases your insulin resistance just because the blood is not moving as it's supposed to, right? And by you sitting and you gaining weight, it's just a whole tornado effect, right? So the statistics say, the risk for diabetes in people who are prolonged sitters and with no, not getting the appropriate exercise, 112% high risk of getting diabetes. Now, are you going to get it that day? No, but that's the point I was making. What you do today, 5 years from now, what you are today, how your body is a result of what you did or didn't do 5 years ago, right? Your legs, your butt, there are things, your butt muscles, gluteus maximus and medius, right? They're gonna get weak just sitting. Like a friend of mine say, there's a downside to sitting on your backside, right? But when you just sitting like this and people laugh and say, oh, you'll get a flat butt. It's not that. It's actually called dead butt syndrome. You could look that up. It's an actual syndrome, dead butt syndrome. The only way to accomplish, to get out of that, is to start doing like specific exercises that move your butt and your thighs. And soon I'm gonna show you that. But they have glute bridges. They, once you look up dead butt syndrome, they'll tell you what, you'll be able to see what type of exercises. But your butt actually dies. It's a muscle. And like every muscle, if you don't move it, it dies. The problem is, if your butt muscles uh weaken, oh my gosh, you're gonna have problems with your hip, you're gonna have hip pain, you're gonna have back pain. It's gonna be a whole mess. It is a whole problem. And as we get older, it's even a worse problem, right? So you're more prone to injury. Also, keep prolonged sitting. Women who are getting into premenopause or menopausal, the more you are not mobile, guess what happened? You're more at risk for osteoporosis. That's why if you happen to fall, you're gonna, as our older people, they get hip fractures and all kinds of stuff, right? But what if that is because of their failure to be active earlier in their life? A lot of people think like, I'm young now, I could do whatever I want to do, is living now, but you're not planning for the future. That's why this channel is intentional health. This like when I gained 80 pounds, I've lost 80 pounds, but When I gained 80 pounds, I had nobody to blame but Arlene. No one but me, nobody but me and my choices to do the right thing and my choices not to do the right thing. So look up dead butt syndrome and you will see what that is, right? Um, Research is happening right now. Studies are happening. They have attributed that certain cancers, and this is scary, uterine and colon cancers. Isn't that interesting that they're all at the bottom, like down here, right? Uterine and colon cancers have some correlation with prolonged sitting. Again, there's no outcomes on that. They're actually in the research stage. And, it takes a while to do that. You got to have samples, you got to be following people for years and stuff like that, right? So, but just the idea, just the possibility that it could have some connection, let me work with that and let me do what I can do right now to not even put myself at risk, right? So, in general, I want you to think about the fact that we're adults here, but what about your children and grandchildren who are sitting doing the gaming? They could be on that for forever. What's happening with their bodies, their young bodies? Do you know that chiropractors and sports medicine and people like are seeing more children come in with hip pain? Children coming in with knee pain, coming in with back pain. That doesn't make no sense. Now, as the guardians of those kids or grandkids or whoever, we have to, when you gotta set the standards. Okay, you could do your game, but you can't be on there 4, 5, 6 hours. You have to set the standards for sure. Um, Even simple things you give. I went to church one morning and the lady was there with her kids and uh and one of the she didn't want, like, this little girl looked like she was maybe 4, so she didn't want her to make noise in the church. So what did she give her? The iPad. So here's a little 4-year-old the whole time in church with her head down. What is that doing to her neck? What is that doing to her neck? You know that young people, you could teach them also stretching exercises, right? And that's my next video. I'm going to show you stretching exercises for people who are sitting. And these exercises you could also do for if you're just beginning, because there's a beginning to every beginning. There's a beginning to every beginning. So if you've not exercised, you could use that. I also want to talk about dynamic stretching versus stretching. I'll be doing a video on that because a lot of people are like, oh my God, summer's coming. I gotta do this. I gotta work out. I gotta do this. And they start and they're doing all this static stretching. I'm gonna get on the bike. I'm gonna jog. I'm gonna whatever it is. You need to do dynamic stretching. Why? Because if you had never worked, you just starting, dynamic stretching is movement. Where you're moving the joints, right? So instead of going like this is static. You're holding the joint. But if your joints are not warmed up. So before you exercise, whether sitting in the chair or whatever you're doing, and you're doing this joint here is not ready. So how do you get this joint ready? It's better to do this. It's better to do this. It's better to do movement. 5 minutes of dynamic stretching. And I have a video about stretching from top to bottom, dynamic stretching. And you could do that. A lot of people do that. Just even they get up out of bed, they do it. Before they go to bed, they do it. It keeps the joints limber, right? But that's another story. The whole point of what I'm trying to say is we must stay active. And it is even more important. It's even more important to get active as we get older, right? TC, people are always talking about aerobic exercise and activity, but I was taught to do anaerobic exercise. Anaerobic exercise, the best way I could tell you, and there's aerobic would be like HIIT, high intensity, but anaerobic exercise, if you're trying to, your goal is to lose weight, that's the best one. Why? Because, like, say for instance, I used to go to the park and I used to, like, okay, I'm gonna do two times around the park, right? But I'm not, let me see. Distance versus time. So anaerobic exercise is better to walk the 4 or 5 miles because the anaerobic exercise leaves your metabolism going, right? Aerobic exercise is HIIT. It's a quick, boom, we doing it, whatever. But if your aim is to lose weight, it is better to do anaerobic. Another form that people don't think of anaerobic is like lifting weights, doing muscle building exercises. You're not using and the difference in that is breathing, right? You're not using anything in that, but guess what you're doing? The gains are going to come after you finish the workout. So me walking, instead of like saying I'm going to walk for 15 minutes, it's better for me to walk 3 miles, however long it takes. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna tell you, I would rather, if you are just starting, because when I was just, oh my God, if you could ever hear about what happened when I just started my weight loss journey, I don't have any words. I have to tell somebody one day, but the walking, listen, I had to say, I'm gonna walk from here to that point. And that's all I could do. I had to sit down at that point. And when I got to that point, I sat. And then I walked. And then the next 2 days. So the next, yes. Yes, TC. And I have another word for the quickie, but you got what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. But then after I did that little spot, what I would do then is say, okay, now I'm going to walk past that tree if it kills me and get to the other tree. So again, you have to begin at the beginning when you're beginning. If you get that, right? So if all you could do is 10 minutes and you weren't doing nothing at all, make those 10 minutes the best that you could do it. I promise you, I literally, when I got to the point where I'm able to jog around the park, like half of the park, I stopped and almost was in tears because I couldn't believe from where I started. But there was a graduation to it. I didn't just do it. I have behind me, you see, that's a treadmill. You can't see it, but it's a treadmill, an air bike, and a stationary bike. Over there, I have a elliptical, and that's what I'm gonna get on. But when I got on that elliptical, which I call the death machine, I can only do 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Now, and then I progress, right? Forever Lisa, I have a product. It's not my product that I wear on my knees that is a lifesaver. You know, a lot of people use the brace, but that's not the key. There's one, it comes in two parts, and I will have to, let me see if I could quickly find it because I'm sitting where I work, do my workout. Oh, I can't find it, but it is it's a double, and it holds the patella of the knee in very much more than a brace. And that's what I use, and I've had no problems. So when I find it, I'll add the description, or I'll talk about it at the next video. I wish I had it to show you. Dang. Anyway, I'm at my time. I appreciate that you know, I'm honored and humbled that you guys joined, took time out your day to join me. I so thank you. I just want to impact one person. If something I could do to impact one person, then I've done a lot. So I appreciate everything, your time that you took out. I so much appreciate it. I see Miss Dovey came by. To forever, I mean, to anyone that I missed, I really appreciate you. Thank you, Miss Dovey, for the live-a-thon. And I want to congratulate you on your, I believe it's 100, is it 200,000 views? That award that you got, I don't remember if it's 200 or 300. Put it in the chat what it is. But oh, I thought Brooke is coming on. I thought she was coming on. No one's coming on until 1:15. Oh, okay. So if you have any questions, then you could ask. And but if not, that's it for me. You see, I'm already dressed. 350,000 views, Miss Dovey got an award for. So we want to congratulate her for that. And that's a lot of work, believe it or not. But Miss Dovey know that she got to get up every now and then and dance or do something and not just be sitting in that chair. Right, Miss Dovey? We got to get up every now and then. Like I said, some people have the Apple Watch and they'll say get up. I don't have it on, but I have the Samsung Galaxy, and every hour it goes off to tell me to get up just in case, right? So Brooke is coming on 1:15. So then now I guess we could take a break until 1:15 when Brooke Valentine University comes on as part of the live-a-thon. Again, thank you so much. If there are no questions, we could go and take a moment and then get back on the train with Brooke Valentine University. Any questions, comments, or suggestions? My next video that will be coming that I'm gonna work on is the chair stretches. The chair stretches, so that while you're sitting here doing your content or watching videos, you can do it. And because even just me sitting, like you'll see, like I'll do this here, and that alone feels like heaven. But why does it feel like heaven? Because then I tend to do this. Your shoulders should not be this way when you're sitting. Your shoulders should be this up and down, not back, should be here, right? But if you take a look at, like, when you see content creators come on, look at their posture. Right? Look at their posture. Are they sitting up, chest up? Where are their shoulders? Are they here? They shouldn't even be here. They should be like this, right? Where's their neck? Up, eyes this way. And you'll see some are literally like this, but they're putting so much pressure on those joints in that middle back. So start looking at that, right? So again, it shouldn't be this, but I've even done this. It should be, so you first go up, down, not back like this, but just kind of here, not this way. Make sure your spine is straight and your neck is up, like you're at attention. And just that alone, you're going to see your whole spinal cord, your spinal column straighten up, you know? And I'm telling you, if you could intentionally remember that in your mind, it's going to make a big difference. All right. Thank you. Yes, Miss Dovey, I will. Thank you everyone for coming by. Let's take a break. It's about 34 p.m. and we will I don't know how to put in like drop links. I don't know how to do that as yet, but it is Brooke Valentine University. She will be on at 1:15 p.m. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of the Sunday. I'll see you at 1:15. Bye.